guys! In today's video, as promised, I'm going to review the Hum Mighty Night Ceramide supplements. These, as a reminder, were gifted to me from Hum through the Octoly platform in exchange for this review. This is not a paid promotion or sponsored video, but I did not pay for these myself. They were sent to me in exchange for this review. So you should know that going in, I did not pay for them. To cut to the chase though, I don't recommend that you go out and buy them and plunk down money for them. And in today's video, I will go over kind of the science behind the different ingredients and ultimately tell you why I don't think they're worth it. To start off with though, what I think most of you want to know about is what is the science behind taking a ceramide orally in a supplement for skin health? Ceramides, just to backtrack, are lipids that are a key component of our skin barrier. They are essential for our skin barrier to function, to keep our skin hydrated, healthy, and function as a barrier to the outside world. They are the most abundant lipid in the very top layer of our epidermis, which is called the stratum corneum. And in conditions like eczema or atopic dermatitis, as well as with age, ceramide synthesis can be deficient and as a result lead to dry skin and increased transepidermal water loss and impaired barrier function. So ceramides applied topically to the skin and moisturizers have been shown to be helpful in restoring skin barrier function. And so with that, there came about quite a bit of interest in taking ceramides orally. A lot of this started out in Japan, and we do actually have some studies showing that an oral ceramide supplement can potentially be helpful for skin barrier function. Now, I'll point out that in the Hum supplements, the ceramides are derived from wheat. These are, however, gluten-free. So, I'm not entirely sure how they are gluten-free, but it's a wheat seed extract. So I guess that makes some sense. The gluten would not be present in that part, but I would still be nervous if I had gluten-sensitive enteropathy to take these, but they claim to be gluten-free. So yeah, they're plant-derived ceramides. Ceramides are actually present in a lot of different wheats and grains. They're present in rice. So there are plant-derived ceramides, and then there are mammalian-derived ceramides. And we're not plants as humans, so our ceramides are a little bit different from plant ceramides, but the studies that I'm going to tell you guys about today were done using supplementation with plant-derived ceramides. There was a 3-month study of 51 women with dry skin at baseline that showed that a ceramide wheat extract, such as what is contained in the Hum supplement, significantly increased the hydration of their stratum corneum. That's that top layer of the epidermis. As well as increased measurements of skin hydration, not only on the arm, but also on the legs. This study was done over 3 months, so it suggests that it may be helpful for skin hydration. And there are some other studies looking at oral ceramide supplementation and showing improvement in measurements of transepidermal water loss. So they seem promising, but the data is still very preliminary, and these studies are very, very small. So it's not something that we can go about recommending on a general basis to the general public. Oh yeah, you should be taking ceramides for your skin health. And while it's interesting and maybe down the road we might have more data to suggest it as a treatment for people with conditions like eczema, we're nowhere near that point. We really just have very preliminary small studies. And I'll point out that we don't have a good solid understanding of the pharmacokinetics of orally administered phytoceramides. And by that I mean how is it best absorbed? What is the best formulation of the supplement? Should it be a capsule? Should it be a tablet? Should it be a liquid that you put on your tongue? All of these kinds of things. We really don't know how it would best be absorbed and in what forms, what ratios, what doses. And so really without that kind of knowledge, it's hard to make a recommendation about the best ceramide supplements because we don't know. We don't know anything about how it's taken up and what the best form is. But that being said, because we have these few studies showing that there's improvement in measurements of transepidermal water loss, supplement companies are going to jump all over that and start to make a lot of claims about what oral ceramides can do. And So of course they want to make you believe that it's going to change your skin, revolutionize your skin, but it may do nothing. You know, these studies were done in people with dry skin conditions at baseline. So whether or not taking an oral ceramide is going to be helpful if you don't have a disease like eczema, who knows? It may do nothing. And who knows if the ceramide, the wheat ceramide in this is the same as what was done in the studies that suggest potential benefit. The next ingredient though in these supplements is ubiquinol. Ubiquinol, or coenzyme Q10, was actually discovered in the mid-50s. It is an endogenous, meaning part of our body, lipid soluble, meaning it dissolves in fat, antioxidant. So it's an antioxidant that is present in our body in all membranes of cells. So the cell membranes have ubiquinol in them. And it's a really important thing in our cells. It is a cofactor for different enzymes in some of the little powerhouses within the cell. And it also helps in reducing free radical damage. So it's really important. All animals, including humans, make coenzyme Q10. It's found in human blood in ranges of 0.1 to 0.4 micrograms per milliliter in some studies, and in other studies 0.41 to 1.60 micromoles per liter. So it's detectable in the blood, in other words. Where can you find it in the diet? Meat, as well as dietary fats. But in human skin, with age, the levels of coenzyme Q10 actually begin to decrease, which means we start to lose some of our ability to combat free radical damage that ultimately leads to skin aging. So there was a 2017 study that looked at supplementing CoQ10 at 50 milligrams per day or 150 milligrams per day for 12 weeks. This was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study of 35 otherwise healthy subjects. And at the end of the 12 weeks, both the 50 milligrams per day group and the 150 milligrams per day group had a decrease in wrinkles and micro relief lines, so little fine wrinkles and lines, as well as overall improved skin smoothness in comparison to placebo. And both doses were effective at that. The higher dose, the 150 milligram per day dose, showed additional improvement though in wrinkles around the what's called the nasolabial folds, as well as the corners of the mouth and the upper lip lines. So it suggests that higher doses may have more benefit in terms of some of the deeper wrinkles. But coenzyme Q10 didn't appear to alter any measures of skin hydration, so it really only seemed to be helpful in wrinkles, but not necessarily dryness, in other words. So that's one tiny study in otherwise healthy people. In other words, we don't have a lot of data to support supplementation with CoQ10 for any particular skin condition or the general public who is otherwise healthy. Very small study. In addition to the coenzyme Q10, which if I didn't already mention is at 25 milligrams. So these studies the study that I just mentioned looked at 50 and 150 milligrams per day, but this only has 25 milligrams in it. So not even the same dosage as was used in those studies. The next ingredient in this is transferulic acid. Sound familiar? That's what's in your vitamin C serums. Ferulic acid is another antioxidant in this supplement. It is 100 milligrams. You're getting it 100 milligrams, which by the way is roughly the same amount of ferulic acid as is in 1 kilogram of spinach. So about 2.2 pounds of spinach is the same amount of ferulic acid. So you know that bag of what I call the fresh and quick spinach that I get at Costco? Looks like I'm getting my ferulic acid by going through that in 4 or 5 days. So you can get it from your diet is what I'm getting at. It's an antioxidant. It's found in whole grains. I already alluded to the fact that it's found in spinach, parsley, grapes, oats, rye, barley, and rhubarb. It's very easily absorbed, and it stays in the blood for longer than any other antioxidant, so it can persist around for a long time. Now, that's kind of important because we do have studies like with vitamin E as well as B12 and B6 showing that high levels, supplementing with high levels, can actually increase the risk of different cancers, namely lung cancer. So given that transferulic acid does get to a pretty high level in the blood just through our diet, you really have to question like, I wonder how safe it is to be supplementing with it as well. And the truth of the matter is we don't have long-term safety data to address that. So it's a big unknown risk that you're exposing yourself to when you take a supplement like this with poorly studied ingredients. In addition to that, it also has valerian in it, which is an anxiolytic, or it's touted to have a calming, soothing property, but a very poorly studied ingredient and definitely not recommended as first line for any kind of sleep disorder or any difficulty sleeping or anxiety. So if you have anxiety, do not believe that valerian is going to treat your anxiety. That would be very misleading information. But it is, anecdotally people find that it is very calming. So I guess that's why they put that in here to help you fall asleep at night. That being said, I tried these and did not find that it calmed me down whatsoever. I didn't notice any effect. I just took them for a few nights just to kind of give them a whirl for you guys. And it also has something called hop flower extract and passion flower extract, which again are probably going to be rich in antioxidants, but whether or not they are bioavailable in these soft gels is a big unknown. These are vegan, so that is why I was able to give them a try. I do follow a vegan diet. And I didn't have any issue. They didn't upset my stomach or anything like that. I didn't have any side effects with these. But there's so little data to support the use of these ingredients as supplements, and there's such a big unknown in terms of long-term safety. It's just a big black box of potential risk and little established benefit. Not only that, as I pointed out in my last video, supplements are non-drugs. They are not regulated by the FDA, and they do not have to demonstrate safety or efficacy. So while this is intended to be taken at night, and it's got the valerian, which is supposed to have this kind of calming effect anecdotally, this also has peppermint oil as a kind of inactive ingredient, and I did kind of taste that when I swallowed these, and peppermint oil can worsen reflux disease. If you have acid reflux, particularly at nighttime when you lie down, peppermint can actually worsen that. So if anything, these might give you a little bit of acid reflux or worsening of your acid reflux. So hopefully you guys can understand why I don't recommend these. The ingredients are very poorly studied, very little evidence to support any benefit to the skin or skin turnover. And they're a big black box, quite literally, as far as unknowns in terms of long-term safety. In my last video, I pointed out some of the known risks with those ingredients, like biotin and interfering with lab tests. But these, who knows? A lot of these ingredients, it's just we don't have the studies or the information yet because they're not something. If it's a drug, we can do clinical trials and we can look long-term at long-term outcomes of safety measures. We have a better sense of things when we have controlled trials. But in small things and in supplements where there's no regulation or standardization or reproducibility, it becomes very, 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 very loosey-goosey. So, as physicians, we're really resistant to recommend supplements because of that. Poor evidence to support their use, potential harm, and a big unknown as to which ones are the best ones, if any, to recommend to you guys. So yeah, you don't need to plunk down big bucks on these supplements to support cell turnover at night. All you have to do is go to sleep. That being said, a lot of people suffer from sleep disorders. It's really, really a horrible thing to cope with. So if you're out there suffering with those, my heart goes out to you. Sleep is so imperative, not only for looking good, but for your brain function, your day-to-day function, your reaction times, your responses, driving safety. It's really important. Being sleep deprived is a huge risk for getting in an accident. That being said, invest in strategies and techniques to ensure good sleep. Things like turning off your cell phones and computers a few hours before you go to bed. Don't eat a big meal right before you go to sleep. Keep the room cool, dark. You know, share your tips and tricks down below in the comments. But my tip would be don't fall for this. This is just an expensive black box, quite literally. So that's my review of the Mighty Night. Thank you, Hum, for sending me these supplements to review for you guys. I hope this information was helpful to you all. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.